I once a billionaire with a big
OMTG.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh wow, suspense, drama, and just chaos going on all around us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to OMTG Show 20. We are young adults now. We are out of our teens. Show 20 for Wednesday, February 12th, 2014. And oh my goodness, on our show tonight, we have the creator, writer, and star of one of the hottest and most wickedly entertaining soap opera web series, DEVANITY, Mr. Michael Caruso. Isn't that just exciting? That's pretty amazing. Yes, what an appreciative audience. Yes, and so here we are on our 20th show. Pretty exciting. Now, today's show is all about Michael and his series DEVANITY. It's their final season, the fourth and final season, and Michael is the web series creator, writer, and one of the amazing stars of the show. Now, before we bring on Michael, let's get caught up. Before we get caught up in his wicked web of this delicious web series, I want to remind our listeners that if you've missed any of our shows, and really, you're going to get solitary. You're going to go into solitary for that. Yeah, you can't miss any shows. You can catch all of our previous show recordings at Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com/show/OH_MTG. And every time you listen to an OMTG show, a gay angel gets a new pair of Jimmy Choos. Isn't that exciting? So exciting. Yeah. Well, he is just right on time. Let's check in and see if that's Michael Caruso. Wow.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello, Michael Taylor Gray. I love the doorbell. I brought pastry.
Oh, you did? I did. I never show up without making some baked goods. So I'm so appreciative that you have that tradition as well. And don't you look smart in that Armani suit? Oh my goodness, you're so handsome. Yes, so handsome. But shouldn't you be wearing pants?
This whole thing. I only wear this one. I don't care what I look like.
Oh, well, our audience really appreciates it. But I do have a question for you. Yeah, I'm just wondering. It's a lovely suit, but did it not come with a pair of pants?
Michael Taylor Gray, don't you dare reveal all my secrets.
It looks like you're the one revealing all your secrets.
Well, hey, it's a pretty big secret.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad you're not, revealing all of your shortcomings, because then that would be...
Wow.
Yeah,
Now
I know.
you have to go sit in the punishment corner for at least 10 minutes.
I know. But, ladies and gentlemen, we always like to set our guests appropriately and introduce them and give you a little bit of background on them. And in Michael Caruso's own words, well, I don't know. I don't know if I should read this or if I should just, let's just give a listen.
Hey, it's Michael Caruso. I just sent you an email with your request, and I'm going to give you fair warning. It's pathetic. I'm terrible at writing bios, so it's a piece of shit. I actually don't have a bucket list. I'm a loser. But I'm so excited to be on your show. So do your thing, and, love you. Hope you're well. Bye.
Yeah. That was Michael in his own words.
You recorded my voicemail from the other day. That's not even legal.
You can convert it to audio file, and I was learning new tricks of the trade, and I used that as sort of a test of a new skill. So
it's
that's
very
my
creepy
reason.
and it's very cool at the same time. For all of you listeners out there who have no idea what just happened, Michael Taylor Gray sent me an email saying, send me a bio and a bucket list. I don't have a bucket list. I don't think about what I literally don't, and I suck at bios. I'm terrible at it.
Well, I think what you thought I meant was a fuck it list, and you just said fuck it. I don't know how to do that. So, no, but in your own words...
I've been trying to think about things. Like, I've been trying, like, what do I want to do before I die? And it gets so morbid. Right. I'm like, no, I don't know.
But you did. In all fairness, you did make an attempt at writing a bio. And in your own words, directly, this is a direct quote, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Caruso's own words. I suck at bios. Just make something up. I'm from New York. I graduated from Syracuse University with a B.F.A. in drama. Moved to L.A. 9 years ago. Created DEVANITY in 2011. And we are about to premiere our fourth and final season. Well, there you have it. Good night, everybody. No, it's just to add that. Yeah, so I did a little digging, but it's short and sweet. It's short and sweet like me. So now, IMDb does say that Michael Caruso, that's you, was born on September 25th, in Brooklyn, New York. I'm sorry, I went through a tunnel. In Brooklyn, New York, USA. I love how that has to say Brooklyn, New York, USA, as opposed to like Yugoslavia, Brooklyn, USA.
Yeah. I was born in Brooklyn, Yugoslavia.
You know what I mean. Brooklyn, New York, Yugoslavia. As Michael A. Caruso. Michael A. Caruso. He is an actor and producer known for DEVANITY, 2011, The Blackout, 2009, or Tuesday Nights for Me, and Hero Treatment, 2011. He has been married to Barbara Baranai. Is that how you say her last name?
No, well, her last name is Caruso. It's my last name.
I know her last name is Caruso, but her maiden name,
Her maiden name was Saranyai, which is Hungarian. My wife.
Oh, I like the way you say it.
It took me, I would say it took me about 3 years to learn how to pronounce it correctly. Hungarian is like the hardest language.
Wow, why the rush?
She lived here for many years before she ever met me. But yeah, I fell in love with a Hungarian girl.
Who's knocking at your door?
You what?
Was somebody knocking at your door? Was that me? Oh, that's a little sound cue on my phone. Never mind, I'm hearing things. Okay, you've been married to Barbi since May 17th, 2009, and he was previously married to Catherine Dean. Okay, 2 questions.
Oh, no, my God. You're bringing up ex-wives already? Jesus.
Two questions for you, 2 questions right away. You know, come on. You do DEVANITY, okay? It's all about the dirt, okay? 2 questions for you. Okay. Yes. Why did you drop the A from your birth name for your professional name? What are you hiding? What are you hiding, Michael?
Nothing. I think you're obviously reading my IMDb thing. I believe they require you to do that. Yeah. They require you to do that. I'm not one of those middle name people that likes using their middle name. I've known people that enjoy doing that. I just think it's too much. It's too much of a name. It's like I just want a first name and a last name. Yeah. And I'm good to go.
What's the A for? Is it like Aristotle? Aristocrat?
Yeah. It's Michael Aristotle Onassis Caruso.
Aristophanes. Yeah, I love it. I can see that might be a little.
It's my middle name is Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew. Yeah, I like Aristotle better, so it's now Aristotle. Okay.
Yeah.
No, and I love your laugh. You've got a great hearty laugh. It's like cigarettes and vodka. I love it. Okay.
Can you see me right now? I'm kidding.
Yeah. Second question for you.
Okay.
What's with the list of wives? You know, who are you? Elizabeth Taylor, Hilton, Wiley, Todd Fisher, Burton, Warren, Pretend, Steve?
I'm doing my best. One of the things I realized, if I'm going to be a legend, I have to make sure that I rack up the marriages before. Maybe that should be on my bucket list. Be married 20 times before I die.
Oh, there you go. So instead of like Liz Taylor with her White Diamonds commercial where she takes off her earrings and hands the diamonds over, here, try these. You could have a handful of wives. Try these. These have always brought me luck.
I was very young when I got married the first time. I was very, very young. It was one of those, just kind of whoopsies that occur in life, and I wish her a lot of luck and a lot of happiness, but that is the perfect sound effect to describe that period of time. But my current, and in my opinion, I always joke with Barbi, and I always say it's almost like, the dream season of Dallas, where I wake up and it's always her. Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm much happier. Second time was the charm for me. Yeah.
You're now married to Barbi.
She makes that noise naturally every time she wakes up in the morning.
Oh. She looks just like Patrick Duffy in the shower?
No, I said that noise. I said Barbi makes that noise every morning when she wakes up.
That's the sound her eyelashes make when she flutters them in the morning. I love it. And when I flutter my eyebrows in the morning, this is what they sound like.
Yep, mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too.
I don't have dry eye. It's a very moist flutter. Yeah. So now, Michael, I don't know if you just heard, but I like to do a few hot topics. Usually I have a co-host with me, our lovely and delightful Tuppet Schmelsley, or my childhood best friend, our favorite Columbus, Ohio chemist, Ted Mayberry, but they're not available today. No, they're in the Witless Protection Program, so we're on our own, you and I, so we're going to get very intimate.
Okay, well, you and I are old friends. Yeah. We can do this.
We can play in the sandbox together. We play very well. Now, this Hot Topics segment, it's usually Tuppet's World, but we're going to call it Hot Topics today. I just heard, and I don't know if you did, that Shirley Temple Black passed away.
I did hear that. I did hear that, and it's so funny. I would say about 2 weeks ago, The Little Princess was on television at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes. And I was awake, and Barbie had never seen it, and we watched it together, and I had forgotten what a good movie it was. And I will be really honest.
He's not dead, and that will you won't keep me from trying to find him. He's not dead. He's alive.
Yeah, so we watched that. Yeah. I would be lying if I said that I was overly familiar with her pictures. I mean, that was the one that I remembered when I was a kid. So I do enjoy that movie quite a bit. But yeah, it's a shame. It's really, really sad that she's gone.
Yeah. Shirley Temple Black. I mean, she was an ambassador for many years as well for the United States. I can't remember just where. But, yeah. So, I mean, she really, was a child star, and actually as a teenager made a lot of movies as well. And she's a happy story in terms of, I think she was 85 or 86, and she lived a long, full life, and she brought a lot of people a lot of joy, at a time in the country when, a lot of stuff was going on in the world and economically and otherwise. And so, God bless her. And you think of
you watch the old Shirley Temple movie and you forget how innocent movies were back then and how it was like kids were allowed to be cute, and now I feel like kids' movies, like the grosser the kid is, the better. But but back then
now
it was
we have Honey
the more innocent and wholesome and adorable the kid was, the better. Yeah. So totally different time. Totally different.
Yeah, you think Shirley Temple, Honey Boo Boo. Really?
Hi,
Oh, yeah. You better redneck an ass. Oh, my God. I know. Now, and also another hot topic right now is, did you just sneeze, honey?
Did I what?
Was that a sneeze?
I coughed. I apologize, audience.
Well, no, we don't have a cough button. We have a $1.99 budget on the show. I apologize. We don't have a cough button. So if you need to cough, sneeze, any other bodily function, do not worry. We are a full encompassing, fully embracing show. Now, this next hot topic, interesting, because things are just changing at lightning speed. Because you deal with a lot of issues on DEVANITY, and we'll get into that. But Michael Sam, who played for the University of Missouri, an All-American defensive lineman, Michael Sam, he's like 6'2", 260 pounds, big man. He just came out of the closet on February 9th.
Okay. I did see that on CNN briefly, I believe.
Yeah, which has sparked a flood of reactions. His teammates, he came out about a year ago to his teammates, so that's not news to them. But he is a potential draftee for the NFL. He could, and if he doesn't get drafted, he will be the very first openly gay NFL player in history. Yeah, and God bless him for having. It's tough. That's a tough position to be in. You're going to get a lot of scrutiny, but don't you laugh at tough position.
I heard you just said tough position, a tough football player.
I know.
I apologize.
I was going to wait at least a minute to say I love my tight ends and wide receivers. But I'm just saying, I think it was a gay man who invented football to begin with. But anyway, that aside, I just think, wow, incredible. And, I mean, it's with lightning speed that we're gaining equal rights, as gay as me speaking as a gay man for my fellow gay, lesbian, transsexual, transgender, bisexual, queer, questioning, intersex. Oh my God, we've got a lot of categories. But for all my fellow compatriots in our community, under the umbrella of gay community, we'll call it, that's a big deal. And
but I mean,
so I hope
really at the end
that
of the
it
day,
turns out well for him. He does get drafted. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, from a business perspective, I think the most important question is, how well does he play football? That should be the most important thing. Is he a great football player? Then frickin' snap him up for your team. It doesn't, once he's off that field, what he does, as long as it's legal, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter who he has sex with. It shouldn't matter who he's in love with. If he's a good man and he's a great football player, hire him.
Yeah.
Jesus, come on.
Yeah.
Cut him a check.
If he can help you win, God bless you. You're smart. Get him. Yeah.
Right. It's ultimately, at the end of the day, it should be what most things are about in life nowadays, which is greed. So why would you?
Can you help our pocketbook?
Why would you not snatch up somebody that's got this incredible gift just on the basis of who of who he chooses to go to bed with? I mean, if you've got somebody like Michael Vick who can do what he did, and then everybody forgave him and let him back on a football field, and then you've got this guy where his only quote-unquote crime is he's in love with another man. Well, are you nuts? Let the man play football.
Wow, sure, Michael. Sure, Michael. He might look at me in the shower funny. He might look me.
I think that's...
I love when you do that. Yeah, I love it when they say that.
I think that's weird paranoia. I think that,
no kidding.
And what's fascinating, the irony of it, maybe it's unintentional irony, but I mean, how many years ago was it where, African Americans had to deal with this kind of scrutiny?
Exactly.
And they were the ones that had to deal with being ostracized and singled out and not allowed to be with everybody else. So I think that he's in a unique situation as an African American homosexual
that people start using to mask their racism or homophobia. So I didn't attribute to who it was, but some NFL either coach or somebody in the upper ranks made a comment like, "Well, I don't think NFL is ready for this. It'll upset the chemistry of." I'm like, chemistry? These people pull words out of their ass that they're trying to make it sound like what they're saying has some depth and breadth to it.
Here's
means nothing
the
at
reality.
all.
If he never came out, that wouldn't make him any less gay than he ever was. And if he was still an amazing football player and they were still winning, then there wouldn't be any upset chemistry. So that argument goes right out the window almost instantly. The only difference is he has the courage to say who he is. So, surprise, surprise, there's a football coach out there that's maybe not too smart.
Well, I appreciate your perspective. It's so nice to have, a heterosexual married man married to a female human being, not a goat.
With a big vagina.
Oh, my God, if you look big, they're going to start marrying goats. What's that?
I'm thank you for your compliment.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You're welcome. My living room window. That's that weird.
You're moving to your living room. You've got a lovely, lovely, lovely home. Now, our last hot topic is, of course, the Winter Olympics in Sochi. So, are you watching, and do you have any kind of,
I'm
bless
not
you?
Watching. I'm not watching. To be fair, I'm not an Olympics watcher in general. I'm not intentionally boycotting it, but I will say this. A couple days ago, my Facebook feed, it's pretty disturbing stuff that I was reading, and once
disturbing
again,
how?
Just what's going on, the treatment of gay people. I've got, you're my friend.
Yeah.
If you went to Russia and got the shit kicked out of you, I would not be a happy camper about that. I'm not happy about the dog calling that's going on. I think that's pretty messed up.
Yeah. Were you shocked when Brian Boitano came out publicly?
I wouldn't say that I was, but once again, it's none of my business.
I know. And I say that playfully as a gay man, too. I hate that it becomes a deal at all. It was not a surprise to any of us, for one, and that's okay that it's not a surprise. But the fact that people have to publicly come out. Yeah.
I'm a theater major. I have gay friends. We have, it's one of those things where it's not a big deal. It's not like, I don't think there needs to be, to me it's the equivalent of a straight person, waking up in the morning and getting in front of a microphone and saying, I had sex with this cheerleader last night that I picked up at a bar. Who cares? I don't give a shit. Have sex with who you want to have sex with. Just try to be a decent human being, gay or straight. I think that the only way things are going to become normal is when we start treating them like they're perfectly normal. I think that is something that we as a society need to try a lot harder to do. And while I admire the courage of people that are needing to make these announcements, it's just like, all right, well, congratulations. I think that takes a lot of courage. Now, can we get back to what's important, which is the Olympics or, being a CEO
I just hope
being a bread maker?
It's becoming less. Well, but Michael Sam coming out, as a potential player in the NFL, that's a big deal because football, I grew up in Canton, Ohio, and that is the bastion of, that's where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. And, and football, in America, that's the bastion of, masculinity. And, breaking these barriers and these stereotypes of, oh, my God, a gay man can't possibly play football because that's such a masculine sport. Like, really?
Well, but then you've got gays fighting in the military to protect the citizens of this country, and they've been doing that for decades. And, once again, it's just because it might not have been publicly acknowledged didn't mean that it didn't always exist. So I think that for all the people having panic attacks out there, it's always been there. You just don't talk about it. And I think we now need to get to a place where talking about it doesn't make you gay, doesn't mean that you like doing whatever. It just means that they're people too, and they have just as much a right to breathe this crappy air as we all do. Thank you so much.
Very support. We have your family and friends are in the studio audience today, and of course, they love and adore you, and for very good reason. Now, we're going to segue into this. Yeah, well, of course they do. That's why they're here. Now, we're going to segue into our next segment. This is going to be a lovely surprise for you.
When you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the call.
Right now. There we go.
Okay. Right here, Word Up is a word-mind association game where I'll say a word, name, or phrase, and ask my guest to say the first thing that comes to mind. You are my guest, Michael Caruso. This week, I'm putting our featured guest. That's you. Yes, once again, Michael Caruso. Love that name. Learn it, live it, love it, embrace it. Soak it in. Okay, I'm going to put you to the test. Here you go. First word.
Okay. First word that pops into my mind?
Yeah.
Drama. Stereo instructions.
Say that again.
Stereo instructions.
Stereo instructions. There's a lot of drama there. Does that make you sweat when you get those instructions? Do you throw them down, or do you really try to figure them out first?
I try, and that's what creates the drama.
Oh. So what happens to your blood pressure and in your face and your skin? And do you sweat? Do you turn red? What happens?
I have pretty high blood pressure on a good day, so I would say that it kind of spikes even further. Yeah, not a good time for me.
Okay. Oh, wow. So we'll move along. The next word, suspense.
Hitchcock.
Ooh. Now, is he one of your favorites? Do you think he was the master of suspense? Would you put him at the top?
I love Hitchcock movies. I like the old Hitchcock movies, like Rebecca. Rebecca's one of my favorite films of all time. I think it's an amazing film.
Joan Fontaine.
Yeah. I don't even remember who's in it, to be quite honest with you. Oh, it's what's his face? Laurence Olivier.
And Joan Fontaine is the sister of Olivia de Havilland.
Yes, who is also still alive. And they don't speak to each other, I believe.
She is. Olivia is, but I think Joan died recently.
Yeah, as I recall, I think they had a falling out. They didn't speak to each other for years and years.
But Olivia is still hanging on.
I do think
well into her 90s.
Is one of the masters. I do believe he is.
Yeah. Very good. Next word, betrayal.
I got it. Boy, I'm not good at this game. Betrayal. My mind is drawing a blank. Wow, this is. I'm clearly.
Your mind is betraying you, Michael. How ironic. Your mind is betraying you. You're experiencing betrayal right now.
Betrayal.
That's very good. No, I think that's good. You're experiencing betrayal. Okay.
I am.
That's the irony.
My mind betrayed me. I'm very upset about this. I'm furious with my mind.
That's okay. But you see the irony in this moment? You are experiencing betrayal.
And I see you're picking a lot of divinity-themed major words. You know what it is?
There is a theme. There is a theme for this.
There is a theme.
There is a theme.
You know what's crazy, though, is because I write divinity, I think I get it all out of my system that way, so I don't harbor all of this stuff within me. I think maybe that's what's happening right now. I'm all aligned right now. I'm fighting it.
You're tapped. Okay, next word. Okay. Passion.
Barbi.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. And I was like, if you didn't, I was going to reach through the microphone and just snatch you a good one. Yes, passion. Barbi. Yes, I agree. You're a lovely, lovely, and talented and supportive wife who is, not only your lovely wife, but she's a wonderful photographer. Really,
she's a wonderful photographer. She also, like today, for example, she's really, lately she's been using her photography to help a lot of rescue organizations. She works very closely with Love That Dog Hollywood, and she goes every week and she takes pictures of all the dogs they have that are up for adoption, and she uses all these photos to help get them great either forever homes or to what's it called? Foster homes. And she's actually started working with other shelters doing that too. And every week she goes out, and that's another form of passion. I mean, she's been busting her hump every week to get these animals homes, and I'm so proud of her for doing it because I just think it's incredible.
Now that's Love That Dog in Hollywood?
Love That Dog Hollywood. And it's a great group. Every Sunday they have a public event where they bring out all of their dogs. And it's funny, they pull these dogs out of the shelters before they get euthanized, and the organization actually pays to board them until they can find them homes or foster homes. So it's a pretty great group of people. So pretty active in the community, getting these dogs some good, happy, healthy homes.
We like that. Now, our final word up word. Are you ready?
Yes.
Diamonds.
Well, maybe it's because of what you were talking about earlier, but Elizabeth Taylor did just pop into my mind. That probably wouldn't normally happen, but you were talking about her, so maybe that's where I'm going with this.
No, that's Elizabeth Taylor, Hilton, Wilding, Todd, Fisher, Burton, Warner, Fortensky.
I think you're the only person that I know on earth that is able to do something like that so quickly.
The truth be told, I played Elizabeth in a play called Dressing Room Divas upstairs at the duplex in Greenwich Village in New York City. So I was normally I was cast initially as one of the florists that gets kidnapped along with all these other stars in this dressing room. It's Night of 1,000 Stars at Radio City Music Hall, and I get me and a fellow florist get kidnapped with all these mega stars, and one of them was Elizabeth Taylor. And I just happened at one rehearsal.
You have pretty spectacular leading ladies, my friend.
Yeah. Joan Crawford, Elizabeth Taylor. I'm going to go through them all. I haven't played Betty yet, but I don't know. There's some people who really do Betty so well. I'm going to stick to some other dames. Maybe Joan Fontaine or be my next one. Wednesday.
Yeah.
But that was good, Michael. You're really good. You're very good at this.
I would maybe give a solid B on that game. I don't know how great I was, but I just want you to be happy, Michael. It's all I've ever wanted.
You totally satisfy me. It's always a happy ending with you. Always a happy ending. Now, yes, and you were right on, Michael Caruso. Michael Andrew Caruso. The theme of our word up list this week were elements of divinity. I love it. Yeah. So now we're going to do another little magical segue for our next little segment, and we're going to play your favorite little sound cue.
Barbi just woke up, everybody.
Barbi, she's blinking her beautiful eyelashes again. They have the little crystals at the end of the lashes. They're very glamorous. Okay, this segment we call Shitz and Giggles. Now, that's Shitz, S-H-I-T-Z. Don't get nasty with me. Now, Shitz and Giggles are crap that makes you laugh. Those slice-of-life moments that happen all around us. And this is a little story I want to share with you, Michael, and get your perspective on it. It's from Weird News on HuffingtonPost.com, and it's lovely. And it's about animals. And since you and Barbi are such animal lovers and friends to our furry friends, I know you have 4 dogs, but this is about cats. So I think you'll be very agreeable. So
There's nothing wrong with a lot of pussy.
I love pussycats. I love pussy. Okay, here we go. This one, you're filthy. I love it. This story is titled, Jevons Brown Sent Cat Poop to Companies That Didn't Hire Him. Here we go. Nobody likes being turned down for a job, but Jevons Brown thought it was especially crappy. The 58-year-old St. Louis man decided to let his prospective employer know how he felt by sending them packages of cat poop via the U.S. mail, the Associated Press reports. Investigators were able to sniff up 20 cat poop packages and connect them to Brown, a veteran. This is not a victimless crime, Assistant U.S. Attorney John Bodenhausen said in court. Bodenhausen later clarified that the victims affected included postal workers, people whose mail was adjacent to Brown's packages, and the employees who received the cat poop. Brown received 2 years of probation on Friday after pleading guilty in August to a misdemeanor charge of mailing injurious articles. Officials went easy on Brown because he had no prior arrest record. What do you think of that, Michael?
I think it's kind of funny that his last name is Brown and he's sending poop. That's the first thing that I thought of.
Oh, yeah. That's just, I'd be like, ugh. Because if I got, I don't know.
Let's be honest. I mean, if it's funny to read it, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I probably think there are worse things he could have probably sent to people.
Okay.
I think it's maybe a little childish, and maybe he needs to get a little help for his anger issues, because we've all not gotten that magic. Can you imagine if we sent poop to every casting director that didn't hire us for a job? There aren't enough cats in the city.
Oh, just thinking of it makes me
Did you just have a puke sound effect?
I did. It just getting because I kept thinking of those people who have, I love the people who were affected by this were postal workers and people whose mail was adjacent to his brown packages.
his brown packages.
His brown packages. Yeah, I love they really had to dig deep for that to make it sound really injurious. But anyway.
Injurious. I have been injurious to be injurious.
Yeah.
I think ultimately what I think about it is that, maybe if that's the worst thing that ever happens to somebody in their lifetime, they should count their blessings. That's my official stance on Mr. Brown and his delightful, Santa's little helper status.
Yeah. Maybe there was a little fresh stuff in there. Maybe it didn't smell as bad as what they made it sound like. But anyway, so I just want to say, Michael, welcome to the show once again. And congratulations. Yeah, and congratulations. Oh, we're not done yet, honey.
I know. Oh, no. I know. I'm in for the long haul. I got my coffee in my hand. I'm good to go.
Because I'm not even close, and I want a happy ending. So, no, welcome to the show, of course. And as I was saying, and congratulations on your 4th. You see how my voice went up? You can tell I'm excited. And congratulations on your 4th and final season of DEVANITY, debuting online February 13th at DEVANITY.com. I love that. Now, are you excited about this 4th and final season? What's different about this moment for you than the other 3 seasons? Obviously, it's the final, but how are you feeling?
It changes almost daily. Is the really honest answer. Some moments I'm like, yes, it's done, and other moments I'm like, oh God, it's done. It's been surprising to me how much I've fluctuated with how I feel about the whole thing. And I think that's normal. I think that any time you say goodbye to something, I think you're going to go over sometimes I'm angry, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad. It's never really the same feeling at any given time. I'm really, really proud of all the hard work that my entire team has done. everybody really just kicked it into high gear and delivered something that I'm intensely proud of this year. And the good news is that when I wrote it, I left it a little bit open-ended, just a little bit. Like everybody gets their main, nobody's going to be left with the crazy questions, kind of like what Steve did at the end of Pretty, when he ended Pretty.
That's Steve Silverman, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Silverman,
the brilliant creator of Pretty and also the powerhouse behind the Hot as Hell event, which takes place in Palm Springs this summer, where I will be attending with some cast members of Divinity. There you go, Steve. You know I love you.
Hot as Hell too. Yeah.
Hot as Hell too. But yeah, it's just a little bit open-ended, so that if I ever decide maybe let's go back and do a reunion or maybe another season, we do have that option. So it's not going to be, it will be ended, but it won't be final. It won't be like one of those, really final episodes where everybody goes off into the sunset, because I've never believed shows that do that. You have to figure that a family like the DEVANITY family, they're never going to have that wrap-up moment in life. It's always going to be something with them, so I didn't think that it would be very believable to package everybody up and send them off into the sunset and not leave it a little bit left that, all of this crap is going to continue in one way, shape, or form. So that's kind of maybe what I did to, I don't know, maybe I unintentionally built that in to give myself a little bit of hope. But I'm very excited. I'm nervous as hell. I always get nervous before every season comes out. I always am just in a twist, just making sure that everything's perfect and that everybody's going to enjoy it. And I really care a lot about what the audience thinks about the show, and I've always tried very hard to communicate with them as much as possible. So,
well, you're sort of retiring the show a la Barbra Streisand, Cher.
Maybe a little bit more than them. Maybe a little bit more than them.
With their comebacks.
Sure. I mean, and that's the beauty of the web, right? Like, there's no network telling me, no, you're done. I can technically do it whenever I want, but distance either does one of two things. It either makes you more okay with the fact that it's over, or it makes you less okay with the fact that it's over. So it's nice to have the option, I guess.
Yeah, no, but so we're talking about the finale. Well, not necessarily a finality to it, but some sense of closure after 4 seasons. But let's go back a little bit. And what was your inspiration for creating DEVANITY, and how did you come up with the central characters in the family character, the central storyline concept for the show?
I guess the creation of DEVANITY is a couple of things. I was saying on a show the other day, my grandmother, God rest her soul, was a huge Falcon Crest fan. She absolutely loved Falcon Crest. And I was very close with my grandmother. I worshiped the ground that she walked on. And I guess I wanted to do a show that I felt that she would watch, albeit, minus maybe some of the language that we use on the show. But I was a big fan of
the former Mrs. Ronald Reagan.
Yes, that is correct. That's Jane Wyman. And I wanted to do a show that was kind of reminiscent of those super soaps of the 80s, but I wanted to modernize it, and I wanted to really do a very modern version of those classic 80s soaps that maybe we looked at all of the things about those shows. Back then what was great about television was that it was so entertaining. It wasn't message-driven. It wasn't politically correct. It was about these big, crazy, larger-than-life characters that basically did whatever they wanted, and I really liked the idea of that. And Barbi and I live in downtown Los Angeles. We live near the jewelry district, so we walk by these beautiful jewelry stores all the time, and I said to her one day, I was like, I've been thinking about doing this show, and nobody's ever done it. Obviously, when you have a soap opera, you need a company or something to fight over. With the Ewings and the Carringtons, it was oil. With the Channings, it was the Vineyard. So with us, I was like, well, let's make them jewelry designers. So let's give them something that's expensive and powerful to work with and to fight over, and that's kind of how that was born. And really, the first season was a grand experiment. I can't really call it anything other than that, because we were very good friends with Rod and Kelly, who ultimately became our wonderful director and our wonderful cinematographer, and we were all sitting around at dinner one night, And we said, let's try it. Let's give it a shot and see what we can do. I don't think that any of us really ever thought about what it would snowball into and what it would slowly, become. So season 1 is kind of hard for me to watch because I see all the mistakes that we made and all those great, big, greasy, painful learning curves that inevitably exist in any show that you do. But it's grown up so much since then, and it's just been a wonderful thing. But that's kind of how DEVANITY was born.
Yeah, but it's all in the doing, and that's another wonderful theme that keeps popping up throughout my show as I bring on our featured guests. I love bringing on people who don't just talk about, the people say, well, I'm trying. No, I'm doing. I love the people who do, and that's a leap of faith to go from the trying and the talking about it to the actual doing of it.
It's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
And I think if the other really honest, why did you start DEVANITY? Sometimes I tell people this and sometimes I don't, but the honest to God truth of the matter is I was tired of being one of those people in Hollywood that was sitting around waiting for my phone to ring. I was tired of it. I was tired of waiting for somebody to see something special in me or give me a shot or, put some faith in me. I realized I'm going to be 60 years old staring at a phone and be really miserable, and I could be one of that demographic of actors in L.A. that sits around bitching about what I don't have, or I could just make it for myself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened,
good.
and I'm really glad that I did that because this has been without a doubt one of the most rewarding things that could have ever happened to me as a result of it. So it was one of those times where a gamble absolutely paid off.
Well, no, that's terrific, and I'm very proud of you. Now, I also have to say that you have successfully created an acting opportunity for yourself, as well as quite a few other fellow actors, and some notable guest stars, including Maxwell Caulfield, Diane Delano, Andrea Evans, Steve Canale, Kyle Lauder, Robin Riker, Gordon Thompson, Charlene Tilton, Cherie J. Wilson, Ariane Zucker, and Michael Taylor Gray. Oh, well, in a cameo.
And Michael Taylor Gray.
I don't know how that name got in there. I mean, who knew? Yeah, I mean, that's just, like I said, I give you kudos for that. You did. You did hire. And as soon as I got the casting call, I was like so excited. So I really appreciate
Well, you are a joy to work with, and we were thrilled to have you on the show not once but twice. We can't talk about the second time because that's top secret right now.
No, we can't because, but I'm so appreciative of all of that. So, so there you go. Now, why? Your fans, of course, and I'm one of them, are asking, why are you ending the series at the end of its 4th season? How did you make that decision? We've been working on DEVANITY since 2011, and literally from the time we began the process to now, we haven't stopped. It's literally been, I think that sometimes an audience sees a finished product, and I think that sometimes it's easy to forget where the genesis of that comes from. So basically we go from writing it to pre-production, fundraising, production, post-production, airing it, taking a little bit of time off, and by a little I mean like a month or two, and then we're right back into it, and promoting it, and it's amazing how we have our 6-week schedule where we're releasing episodes, but then it goes on for months after that, because just the way viewing habits have changed, you're 6 weeks finished, but you're not really done, and it is a nonstop job, and we don't have a huge group of people working on this. So I think it's fair to say that there is quite a bit of fatigue behind the scenes. Not in a negative way, but I just think that everyone's a little burnt out, and we've been on such a strict release schedule that we basically we release around the same time every year. Typically it's been January. We pushed it a little bit this year because we started a little bit later this year. But we haven't really stopped moving in 4 years. It's incredibly expensive. Wow.
We do a fundraiser every year, but whatever money we don't raise comes out of Barbi in our, my pockets. So it's constantly pumping pretty much all available cash resources that we have. The scheduling is a lot of work. I'm not complaining, but it's just after a while you get a little worn down from it. And I think that Rod and Kelly want to work on other projects and work with other people, which is
your director and DP.
Our director and DP, who are brilliant and talented, and DEVANITY would not have been nearly as successful without them. And I think that for me personally, I think that I'm so happy with where things are. I do believe that there is something to be said for going out on a high note as opposed to running something into the ground. And I would rather, maybe stop now and take some time off and explore coming back rather than just only ever do DEVANITY. I do think that from a creative standpoint, there's something scary about walking away from a highly successful show, and I think that there's something exciting about starting a new show with, bringing in a new creative group and bringing in new creative energy and kind of reinvigorating yourself and getting excited again. So as much as I love DEVANITY, it's been very emotional for me because I love this family. I love these people. I love the actors and the people behind the scenes that we all work with. They're my family, and it's very, very difficult, but I do think that it's for the best, and it's very, very, very hard to walk away from such a successful show. It scares the living daylights out of me. It's like, God, what if my next show is a flop? What if nobody wants to watch anything I ever do again? What if people forget? You got to take those chances. I think that one thing that we've always done on DEVANITY that has served us incredibly well is we never get cocky and we never get comfortable. No matter how successful we've become, I think it's a good sign that I still get nervous before every season because it means that I haven't stopped caring, and it means that I'm not assuming that people are going to love whatever I do. I think that it's really important that sitting at the edge of your seat, really waiting to see how things go, always trying to raise the bar, I think that that's what delivers a better product. And I owe that to our fans, and I owe that to the people that have been so loyal to the show. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that people will be pleased with our final season. We do have longer episodes this year, which I think is great. The episodes are coming in at about roughly 21 to 25 minutes with the exception of episode 2. So you're getting a lot
more. That's more like a regular network length of a show.
Like a regular, it's pretty much like network television this year from a time perspective. Mm-hmm. So we could have probably chopped it up and had like a 11-episode final season, but we're doing 6 television-length episodes. So I think that might satiate the fans and give them a little something more. And we brought in all these fabulous guest stars this year, and I think that we're really trying to say goodbye with a big, burst of gusto.
Wow, that's terrific, honey. That is really terrific. You still there?
Yeah, I just had a sip of coffee. Okay. Forgive me, audience. I had to have my caffeine.
So speaking of what is next for you? What's the...
I'm developing another soap opera. Because I haven't written it and I haven't registered anything, I can't. And I hate being coy. I hate it when people do that. It's so freaking obnoxious. I can't do it only because I haven't registered anything. And as you and I both know, I live in L.A. You live in L.A. We know how this road gets traveled on. So I feel like maybe talking about it isn't smart. But what I will say that won't give too much away is right now it's a multi-generational soap opera that will I'm very excited about it. I want it to be a little more racially diverse than DEVANITY was. DEVANITY was about a bunch of bitchy white people, and I really want to explore...
Do we know any bitchy white people?
Do we know any bitchy white people? Probably more than I can make a Christmas card list for.
Oh, you just.
I just want to explore other themes and just all these soap operas are soap operas. I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel. It is what it is. But I want to try telling a new story about a new family. But I'm not wanting to rush into anything. It's not like DEVANITY is going to end and next week I'm in pre-production. I need to take a break. I need to force myself to take a break. And I want to enjoy it. It's so funny. Everybody keeps asking, "What's next? What's next?" And I'm like, maybe just a tiny break.
Well, it's natural. I think it's natural. That people want, because you have a good track record, so people are excited to see. Well,
And you know what?
And we're creative types, and we always want more.
The fact that people are even asking me, I think, is an incredible, incredible compliment that people care enough about the things that I'm creating that they want more. And that, to me, is just the nicest, loveliest Valentine that a guy could get. So I'm not going to be gone for long, but I want to enjoy, releasing DEVANITY, and I really want to make sure that I don't speed through that so I get all the kind of, whatever closure, whatever you want to call it, that I can, so that I go into it not, well, we did this on DEVANITY and DEVANITY. I don't want to do that. I want it to be about the new show and focus on that. One thing at a time.
So, the new show, do you have a kind of a timeline on that? Like you're giving yourself a year, 6 months, When do you think you're going to actually start talking about it?
I would say probably, let's see, what month is it now? February?
Uh-huh.
I'd probably say realistically, depending on how bored I get, I'd probably say that we might go into production next year.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Yeah. Which gives you a nice.
We normally have always shot DEVANITY in the summer. I'm not doing that. I'm taking the summer off. If anything, I want to. Here's the thing. I'm used to now writing at this point for an established family of characters, and what I don't want to do is write a steaming pile of garbage. So I want to make sure that the writing is great and make sure that everybody's characters are all squared away. I've got to find a new technical team, so I've got to, meet people and, get all that, find a new director, find a new cinematographer, find a new group of people. So that's not something that you can or should rush. So I would say
nobody wants a steaming pile of garbage.
I'm sorry?
Or nobody wants a steaming pile of garbage, or a bag of cat poop, for that matter.
Well, no, but it's like you got to be careful because DEVANITY has been so successful that I don't want to be in this quick rush to do something that's like, oh really? This is what he did? Oh, that's disappointing. You should have just done more DEVANITY. And I might change my mind and say, guess what? I am going to do more DEVANITY. That's just it. I haven't had enough time to sit back and just think about things.
Yeah, catch your breath.
And you know what I mean. So I don't.
Yeah, because let our audience know that you have, you're not just writing it. You're and you have a say in the direction of it as well. I'm sure that you consult with your director.
Sure.
And then obviously producing and location. I mean, you guys. You and your wife, Barbi, are wearing a lot of different hats.
We do the set design. We do the costume design. We do, we find the locations, and we work with people to do that, and the props and all of this stuff. I mean, it's this new season of DEVANITY, we use about 200 different costumes this season. The jewelry alone, cataloging it and keeping it organized, and it's a massive undertaking when you're doing a show like this to keep everything organized and moving along and keeping it so that you're not pulling your hair out the day that you shoot. How did you streamline things as you went along from first, second, third, fourth season? I mean, that's a lot. Yeah, speaking of, because you guys, because it is that sort of glamorous throwback to those 80s nighttime, primetime soap operas, and given the nature of the family and the fortunes that they have in DEVANITY with the jewelry, there's a lot of gowns and jewelry that you're dealing with. So how did you sort of streamline the production side of things for you as you went along? Where did you learn and grow? And after the end of every season, we take a look at it, and we're very, very, very hypercritical of each season, and we say, okay, what worked, what didn't? How can we improve? How can we make this better? What do we want to bring to the table next time? At the end of season 1, we knew that we needed to work on our sound and our lighting. So we invested in lighting equipment. So we upped the lighting. At the end of season 2, we took a look at it and we said, okay, well, now we've got our lighting under control. How can we make it more interesting? At the end of season 3, we said, okay, well, let's add more camera movement. Let's use more dollies, and we got a jib this year. And so I look at my storytelling and I say, well, what characters work and what characters don't? What do we need to really explain here? Season 2 is when we started introducing the celebrity element of things into the show. So, and it was really about finding the balance to make sure that we could bring on these wonderful guest stars, but I didn't want to cheat the normal series regulars. I didn't want DEVANITY to be like one of these shows where it's just like this big, greasy, all-star cast, but the writing was crap. I didn't want to do that. Right. So every year we are very, very, very analytical about saying, okay, this has got to be a lot better. Our organization skills, as the show has grown, for example, if you're looking at costumes, if you've got, 3 to 4 female series regulars, we take the script and I chop it up and I say, okay, this is a new day, or this is a costume change or whatnot, and we literally have rack upon rack upon rack of clothing, and we do costume tests for all of the girls to see what we already have, what we need to buy, and we photograph them in every single costume that they wear, and then we print out those photos, and we assemble their outfit on the rack, and we call them looks. So it's look 1 through whatever. Tiffany Michelle, who's one of our new characters this year, she had, I think it was like 23 or 24 different looks alone. That's a lot for a web series. It's 6 episodes.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't think I have that many looks in my closet, let alone for a web series.
I mean, literally at one point when we were in pre-production, you'd walk into our house and it was just, you felt like you were in a department store. It was racks and racks of clothing and shoes and jewelry. So we do the same thing with the jewelry. We go out and we buy all the jewelry for the show, and then we have to match it with a certain outfit, and then it has to all be cataloged and photographed and put up there. I mean, you're basically dealing with a full-scale wardrobe department, only it's not somebody that comes in, it's us doing it. Same thing with as far as like the look of the DEVANITY loft. I mean, it's interesting. This year we did a lot of flashbacks, so we had to move. We have like the current DEVANITY loft that looks a certain way with flower arrangements and furniture and stuff like that, and you're flashing back to the old DEVANITY loft that picks up at the end of season 3. So we'd come in, for example, and the day that we would shoot, it would be like, all right, well, it's old loft, we called it. First up, and then we've got new loft, and then we have to go back to old loft. So we'd be moving furniture around and redressing it and making it, old loft, new loft, middle loft, transition loft. It was just nuts.
Well, don't forget about Zoloft.
And Zoloft, which I really should have been taking
over.
My
favorite aspect of the show is the Zoloft.
Zoloft.
Yes. I can't help myself. Wow. I mean, God. Now tell me, Michael, what are you most proud of with this final season?
I think I'm the proudest of the fact that each season I've really tried to find the core of what drives these people, these characters, and to get the audience to know them a little bit more each season as people and not just as soap-opera caricatures. And this season, I think, is the most emotionally raw. I think it's the most heartfelt. I think you finally, you get all the campy fun stuff that we've always been famous for on DEVANITY, but this season you really see what makes these people tick. And you see how they really feel about each other and what they really mean to each other. And one of the things that I'm proudest of is, although making it a little bit longer was kind of a gamble, because you ask yourself, do people really want to watch it? I love the fact that the scenes allow us that ability to not rush through all those emotional levels, and you really see people being affected by all the crazy crap that's going on. And the first 2 episodes of the season are very, very intense. In the beginning, in episode 3, we get a little bit more back into the fun bubbles and then into the rest of the season. But, we had a pretty dramatic cliffhanger, and I didn't want to rush through that, and we had to set everything up for the new season. So really, the first 2 episodes are like a 2-part season premiere. I'm just not airing them on the same day. So it's broken up into 2 chunks.
That was one shot for each part.
I beg your pardon?
That was 2 gunshots, one for each part of part 1 and part 2 of this season opener. So there may be gunshots, and there may be. and they're going to be both. They're going to be screams and gunshots. All I can say.
Screams and gunshots,
well, that's great.
Tears and hysteria, and but it's hard. I don't want to imply that Divinity. Where do you draw that line? I don't want Divinity to take itself too seriously, but I think that we need to explore those more serious moments. I think that's what's nice about this is I don't always want to do the same thing. I don't want to become that show that everybody just always expects certain things. I love the element of surprise. Wow, that was really sexy.
Well, you didn't expect that, did you? See? We're doing the unexpected.
Expect it.
You didn't.
Expect
and
it at all.
that highlighted you didn't expect Zoloft either. Olaf, Newlof, Olaf, Newlof, Zoloft. I love it. I love that. Now, so let me ask you this, Michael. Let me pick your brain a little more. What are some of the most unexpected results and reactions that you've experienced throughout the 4 seasons of Divinity? Is that a good question?
It's a wonderful question.
Oh, thank you,
I
Michael.
didn't think that people. I never anticipated that we would become so quoted on Twitter. I never imagined that in a million years. Like people, when we air the shows, like they'll literally they'll take lines from the show and they'll quote them and they'll tweet them and I always get a kick out of that. It's always amazing to me. Things that I think people are really going to love, they might not notice at all, and things that I think nobody's going to care about, people become obsessed with it. And I always like that, like, oh wow, I didn't think that you were going to enjoy that the way that you did. That's always kind of fun. I wasn't expecting it to be a water cooler kind of show. I never thought that it would turn into that, where people are talking about it and.
I think people enjoy, people enjoy the whole family drama, the interaction of all in that larger than life aspect to the show, like you said, which is you captured a bit of that 80s. Because I just from I don't know how young you are, Michael, but I'm a little not quite as young as you, and so I grew up in the heyday of all those 80s soap operas and God, I used to watch Knots Landing with my mom. That was our show. We watched all of Dynasty, Dallas. I remember doing the morning announcements in junior high, and we did a whole thing about who shot JR, and that was like the whole nation was gripped on who shot JR.
But I think that's what people need, and I think that one of the things that made Aaron Spelling so brilliant as a producer was that. Yeah. He wanted to entertain people. Was it, it might not have, been, he wasn't trying to preach to people. He was trying to entertain people. He was trying to say, forget about your life, forget about your workday, forget about all the problems in the world. There's so much negative, stressful crap that you turn on the television or you turn on Facebook and it's like, oh, Jesus, why am I looking at these pictures right now? I don't want to do that. I know that the big trend now is to, be the kind of filmmaker that has a message and gives a point and I'm not interested in that. I want to entertain people. I want you to just check your brain at the door and have a good time. Come and just forget about everything and have a party with me. That to me is so important. And I think that has really resonated with the show because I think that people just have fun watching the show, and that to me has been the greatest reward because that's all I am. I'm just an entertainer. I know it sounds so cheesy to say that, but it's
no, and I understand.
I understand,
and that when you say that, it also embraces the fact that you love what you do, and when you get the opportunity to do what you love and then share it, and then people respond to it and tap into that love that you have for it as well. That's lovely when people see what you see,
I think it's also nice that Twitter and Facebook have given us the ability to interact with our fans, and I think that's also created this great emotional bond between the audience and the show. I think a lot of times you love a show or you love a character or whatnot, and you always feel like you're kept at arm's length from them, and we've really tried hard over the years to welcome people in to make the fans realize we appreciate you, we love you, we want to talk to you, we want to hear from you. I don't want to be one of those show creators that oh, I don't want to talk to them, they're just fans. I don't believe in that. I believe that...
No. I tell you, there's no greater fan, like in the sports world, just like sports fans, like football, your favorite team, there are no more dedicated fans than soap opera fans.
Absolutely.
And scripted web series fans. Absolutely, the same kind of, it's just amazing. So, and we've gotten a real firsthand taste of that. And I think our community, the scripted sort of serial dramas, serial comedy, soap opera-esque kind of shows have always embraced, especially daytime television, has always embraced its audience base. And
sure.
It's so important. It's important. And we
really
learn from that. And we nurture our fans.
Really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And case in point, you'll be joining us this time around for the Hot as Hell web series Fan Fest. It's going to be in early August in Palm Springs at the Riviera Resort.
So excited! And, I am so looking forward.
Steve Silverman is helping to produce that. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Steve Silverman and Julie put it on last year, and it was hugely successful. We were actually supposed to be there last year, but unfortunately we were in the middle of our shoot, so I had to pull out at the last minute, insert joke, but I had to...
Honey, the last time I pulled out at the last minute...
we were unable to go, and I was really very disappointed that we couldn't do it. It just, with our shooting schedule, it got crazy. And I literally couldn't do it. But we're going to be there absolutely this year. So excited, so looking forward to getting to hang out with people and meet other shows and other show fans and our fans, and just a great, big, fun time. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
That's right, lady. That's hot as hell. Ooh.
Yeah,
ooh.
Hot as hell.
You gave me a love hangover. You did. You give me a love hangover. Oh, doesn't that song starts and you automatically feel hot as hell. So
hot as hell.
That's appropriate.
It's summer, get hot as hell with Steve Silverman and Julie Smith and Tom
Julie Smith and the cast of
Julie likes to use her middle A. I don't use my middle A. See, so there you've got an example of a show creator that's comfortable with their A, and I'm not.
I love my A. I embrace it. Okay, now moving along. You did mention in our little email chat when I was digging into your psyche and into what really makes Michael A. Caruso tick.
Okay.
Animal rights, and we've mentioned this earlier with some of the work that Barbi does, and you as well. Animal rights and dog rescue. I always say, Michael, I'm always very suspicious of anybody who's not an animal lover. I mean, you don't have to have pets, but anybody who really speaks ill about animals is, it makes me question their character. Because on the other side of that, on the other side of that spectrum, people who love animals and show them the kind of respect that you do with the family members that you have, the 4 lovely family members that you have, and then those that you help with your rescue efforts. Where does that come from for you, that love?
I always grew up with dogs. I will say that my wife has definitely been a much stronger influence. I mean, I always liked animals. I never really was growing up involved in any kind of rescue movement or anything like that. But our first pit bull that we never had big dogs growing up. We always had little ones. And years ago, I think Jock is going to be 5. About 5 years ago, I was driving home from work, and Jock, our oldest pit bull, was running down the middle of 3rd Street, running literally towards oncoming traffic, and I caught him out of the side of my eye, and I was like, oh my God, this dog's going to get hit by a car. And I made an illegal U-turn and pulled off on a side street, and I opened my car door, which is kind of stupid in retrospect, but he made eye contact with me, and he ran right towards my car, jumped in, sat down on the passenger side, he licked my face, and he collapsed. He passed out. He slept the entire ride home. And
I did that in West Hollywood once.
I know you did. I've seen the footage on YouTube.
Jumped into the car, licked his face, and fell asleep. Yeah. then I woke up in a park. I don't know.
I was a little scared because I'd never had, a pit bull before, and I'd heard all of these things about pit bulls. I didn't know the truth or whatever.
It's a bunch of bunk. That's what it is.
It is a bunch of bunk. It's most 90% of everything that you hear about pit bulls being these awful dogs is a bunch of bullshit. And the vet said, well, if you take him to the shelter, they're going to put him to sleep in 4 days. And I said, so you're telling me either I keep this dog or I'm sending this dog to its death? And she was like, pretty much. So we kept the dog.
Yeah.
I don't
because the majority of the dogs in the kill shelters, majority of the dogs, the breed, the biggest percentage of breed is pit bulls.
Are pit bulls, and I think that it's a lack of. I think it's a lack of education. I think people get these. I think a lot of people get dogs when they're puppies and they're not prepared to go in for the long haul and prepared to say this is a living, breathing creature that depends on me. So I think it's
a dog is not a hobby or a fad.
No, it's not. And I think it's amazing you can find out a lot about your own humanity via an animal because animals don't have agendas and they don't manipulate and they just love unconditionally and it's amazing. And I don't think that you have to be like a psycho-obsessive person. I don't think that you have to, you have to draw lines and whatnot, but I think that we could all maybe be a little bit more conscious of treating all things with respect, people and animals, and I think that it kind of all comes full circle in that way. I think that we live in such a casual society, and pet ownership is not a casual process. It is a lifelong commitment to your animals until the day that they go up to the doggy heaven. So that's
if Michael Caruso, Michael Taylor Gray, and Barbi Caruso find anybody out there who's abusing an animal, this is what we're going to do.
I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, if you don't leave me alone, you're going to have to send me home, 'cause I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
We're going to whip your ass. You heard it here first.
Absolutely.
You ready to whip some ass, Michael? I'm saying, yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'll tell you who's ass I want to whip is those idiots in Copenhagen. Did you hear about that, the giraffe?
My friend Amanda has a giraffe as her banner photo on Facebook. Would you like to tell our audience what that's about?
I was watching CNN the other day.
I wonder why she had the giraffe photo on there. Yeah,
the
Copenhagen.
zoo in Copenhagen, there was a giraffe that was born. It's 18 months old, and I guess in Europe they have very strict inbreeding laws about animals. So this giraffe is perfectly healthy, but they determined that its genetic material wasn't good enough to breed with other giraffes. And even though other zoos offered to take it, people were offering to help take this giraffe from the zoo decided to shoot the giraffe and then dissect it in front of children and their parents and then cut it up and feed it to the lions and the cougars and all the other carnivores at the zoo, all in front of kids and adults, when this animal could have gone to a different zoo and grown up and lived a healthy life.
When the zoo was open, during zoo hours, like people were just
during zoo hours,
walk by and
they lured the giraffe out. I guess the giraffe loved rye bread. They were feeding the giraffe rye bread, and one of the zookeepers took a rifle and walked behind the giraffe and shot it in the head. And the zookeeper was like, he wasn't scared because he didn't know what was happening, and he was eating rye bread, which he loved. I love rye bread. You're going to put a bullet in my head while I'm eating a rye bread sandwich? Are you kidding me? So they shot it.
Oh, my God.
And then they cut it. I mean, I watched the footage on CNN. It's literally children and their parents holding camera phones. They cut the damn baby giraffe open, and then they slice it up, and they feed it to the lions. I'm like, really, people?
Wow.
It was disgusting. It was one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life. It was truly, truly disgusting. And the director of the zoo, his whole stance was, children need to learn that this is how it happens in the wild and that it's not a Disney version of how nature works. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the giraffes don't eat rye bread in the wild before they get a bullet in the back of their head. Pretty sure that we're not recreating nature.
I've never seen a tiger or a lion or a giraffe or a fellow giraffe walk up behind another giraffe with a gun. So,
yeah, I mean, like, if you really want to put it like nature, release the giraffe into the lion cage. I mean, like, but what you're doing isn't nature. Let's not pawn it off to nature.
No, really, they always have some petty-ass excuse that doesn't hold water.
That kind of got under my skin this week. I'm not going to lie.
Of course it would. Now, now, I find it interesting that you don't have a bucket list, and that's okay. That is okay. So under bucket list, I have here, don't have one. So why is that a personal philosophy? Is that something you just don't believe in, or what's your how do you respond to that?
When I hear the term bucket list, when I hear the term bucket list, I feel like you're just kind of dwelling on the fact that you're going to die at some point, which I know is going to happen to me. But I'm not. I guess for me personally, it's never occurred to me. I don't particularly. It's not that I'm trying to avoid making a bucket list. I don't have like this urgent list of everything that I have to do before I die. Maybe subconsciously I assume that eventually I'll just get to it. Are there things I want to do? Like I've always wanted to go to the Parthenon in Greece. I love ancient history. I love it. I love watching all those specials on the History Channel about Egypt and Greece and all that stuff. I'd love to go to Egypt. I'd love to go to Greece to see all that stuff. One of my favorite things to do is to go to the Getty Villa and look at all of the statues and walk through the Roman garden recreations and whatnot. That's
right. We have to go. That's on our to-do list.
Let's do it. I mean, it's a wonderful day. It's so great, and you have a bottle of wine and you look out at the gardens and it's beautiful. And I don't really consider that part of a bucket list, though. I just have it's not like the unofficial I'd like to do it one day list, but it's not correlated to my death in any way, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, like a bucket list are things that aren't so easily done or so easily accomplished necessarily. It might take, achieving something to get you there. But that's good. I mean, it's not to say that you don't have things that you want to do, because you just rattle off a few of those that are, the Parthenon, going to Greece, going to, I mean, that's that. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have experiences that you want to, that aren't so easily done, like in a day. Just like Rome was.
I'm just going to hop on the plane real fast to Athens. I'll be right back, honey. Give me 2 minutes.
I think you should. Yeah, I went on a cruise for my 30th, a while back. And
your 28th
it did encompass some, on my 10th birthday, and some of them, it did encompass some of the Greek Isles. We went to Rhodes, Santorini, which is gorgeous, Mykonos, and to Athens. And so I did go to the Parthenon. And of course, couldn't get away from Hollywood, because who was there that day in Athens? But Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like, I travel all this way.
It's so funny because you're sitting there at one of the world's greatest landmarks, and probably everybody was more obsessed with seeing Leonardo DiCaprio than the fact that this is the birthplace of civilization. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. But he is a good actor. So, but that aside. And I love that your favorite old school song is Take On Me by A-ha.
You said song.
What?
You said film. Song.
I said film?
I think you did. Maybe I'm hearing you wrong.
Favorite old school song, Take On Me.
Song.
If I said film, it's because it's the drugs are kicking in, honey. Don't take the OxyContin until after the show, Michael. Note to self. Or the Zoloft. Yeah.
That was one of the first music videos I ever saw. I just thought the comic book, the video was so cool. It's a great song. That's my.
I love the chair too.
Old school song. Yeah, everything was just cool about that back in the day. It was like, oh my God, this is amazing. That was back when there were music videos still in existence, and they were a big thing.
Yeah, when MTV was indeed music television.
Right.
Now they play no videos at all. Yeah. So.
No, but if you want to see pregnant high school girls and people beating the hell out of each other, you can watch pretty much whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. Now that's quality television. That's quality television.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm not too highbrow. I mean, I do enjoy a little bit of that as well. But
I believe it. Now, Michael, guess what we're ready for?
All right, what are we ready for?
we are ready for just the tip.
Ouch.
Exactly. That's what Barbi usually says. Now, just the tip. How to moment where our featured guest, that's you, Michael Caruso, and I, MTG, will give you just enough info to get you started. That's our audience, the you. After all, we're entertainment prostitutes. We're not whores, Michael Caruso. We don't just give it away for free.
No, you got to pay for it.
There's a small shipping and handling charge. Just a small charge. Now, our featured show tip this week is actually a combination list. It's actually our favorites. It's kind of our favorites tip list this week, and it goes hand in hand with our topic and the work that you do with DEVANITY. Our list this week is the 10 best television soap operas. And this is posted on ScreenJunkies.com. So now, if you think soaps are all about baby daddies and backstabbers, the 10 best television soap operas will confirm your suspicions and surprise you too. Here, learn how the 10 best television soap operas set themselves apart. First on the list, The Young and the Restless. With 19 years as the most watched daytime soap, The Young and the Restless makes a list of 10 best television soap operas for its sheer popularity. It also deserves a nod for its innovative lighting and set designs, for which it has won daytime Emmys. Tune in on CBS and get to know the Abbott and Newman clans of fictional Wisconsin town, Genoa City. Now, are you a Young and the Restless fan?
I don't really watch daytime soaps, to be quite honest with you. I respect them. I have an incredible amount of respect for what they do. I have seen them, but I don't keep up with them. I don't watch them. I'm a prime timer, to be quite honest with you. I'm not.
Me too.
You know.
I mean, I grew up on daytime soaps in high school and college. We watched a lot of these. Well, I was an MEC guy myself. That's what my mom watched, so that's why I ended up
when I was
watching.
in college, Passions just came out. That's not true. I watched Passions and I watched Sunset Beach for a period of time in college because I was home when they were on. I loved Sunset Beach. I thought it was a great show, and I enjoyed Passions too when it first started. But I wouldn't say, you know. You what?
Unfortunately, they didn't make our list. It's sad to say. Now, number 2, General Hospital. Viewers first met the people of Port Charles in 1963, before we were both born, thank God, when General Hospital debuted on ABC. For its longevity alone, it deserves a nod as one of the 10 best soap operas, but it makes the list for another reason, too, or rather, a couple of reasons. Super couple Luke and Laura is so beloved that over 30 million viewers watched their wedding, a daytime record yet to be shattered. The soap has also redefined daytime drama with mobster plots and guest stars like James Franco. And I had to give you kudos to DEVANITY for some of the wonderful guest stars that you've had on the show over the 4 seasons and going into this 4th season, and many of them coming from daytime and mostly prime time soaps. So what are the prime time soaps that some of your guest stars have come from?
Between daytime and prime time. I think that some of the best actors that you can find are in daytime. I mean, they're pros. They're amazing with their lines. They're incredible actors. I think that daytime is a wealth of talent. I think there's just some incredibly talented people in daytime.
What are some of the shows that your guest stars have come from? What is the list of impressive shows that they
daytime? We've had some folks from Days of Our Lives. Kyle Lauder, who I went to college with, actually. That's how we kind of roped him into doing the show. He was on Days of Our Lives for many, many years, and then he went on to be on Bold and the Beautiful for several years. And his lovely wife, Ariane Zucker, who is actually they're both daytime Emmy nominees. She is still currently on Days of Our Lives. She's been on that show for a bazillion years, and she did a guest star. We have Andrea Evans coming this year. I believe, if I'm not incorrect, she has actually been on all 4 of the major soap operas that are still currently on the air at one point or another. She's done them all, and of course she was on Passions for its entire run. Yeah. And she was,
on daytime now, on daytime now we have Bold and the Beautiful. Yes, yes, absolutely. Now daytime we have Bold and the Beautiful, Young the Restless, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives. I think that's all that's left.
Correct. That's all that's left. That's all that's left.
The number 3 on our list, you'll have to agree, and you're familiar with, Dallas. Television soap operas are, they're not just for daytime. CBS primetime soap Dallas left viewers so obsessed with the Who Shot J.R. cliffhanger, as I mentioned earlier, that J.R. Ewing even made the cover of Time magazine. On November 21st, 1980, over 350 million people tuned in to end the suspense, giving Dallas the highest ratings in history. Wow.
Can you imagine 350 million people? That's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. And some of these soaps I haven't heard of in a while, but number 4, Ryan's Hope. With so many television soaps about...
I know a lot about daytime. I just don't happen to watch it religiously, so I don't want to comment on things that I haven't watched because I don't think that's fair or appropriate. But I've heard Ryan's Hope was a really good show.
Yeah, what makes it distinctive, I think, is really interesting because DEVANITY dealt with, it deals with quite a bit of like higher echelon, income earning folks who've also, inherited great fortunes as well. But with Ryan's Hope, it stands out as a soap about average people. It aired from 1975 to 1989. It told the story of the working class, Irish-American Ryan family. And this television soap seized 16 Daytime Emmy Awards for its writers, actors, and directors. And it was so beloved that you can still catch reruns on cable. So I think that's interesting that what sets that soap apart in particular, because many soaps deal with more wealthy families. And that really was more of a working class.
He brought up a really great point because we were talking about how daytime soaps are so popular over in England, and he said that they're not about rich people. They're about everyday people. They usually take place in pubs or normal neighborhoods or whatnot, and it really connects with people on a daily, on a much different level than, say, a DEVANITY or a Dynasty or a Dallas, where people are so rich that maybe the audience can fantasize about it, but they can't really relate to these characters in the same way. So I think that there is definitely a...
Yeah, I mean, that's a great comment, because that goes hand in hand with how I've been thinking about the phenomenon of... Is that your ride?
So what?
Is that your ride home? I hear the police coming out after you.
Yeah, I know. Can you tell I live in downtown? I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to close this one down.
No, don't apologize. That's real life, Michael.
Try filming with it, trust me.
Yeah, right. Oh, no kidding. But I was thinking about the phenomenon. I'm into the 3rd season because the 4th season has just come out, speaking of 4th seasons, of Downton Abbey. And it really, I think, to sort of couch what you just coincide with what you just said about, Ryan's Hope had the average working classes, what maybe the Brits love, and Americans were fascinated with more of the dynasties and the DEVANITYs. But you get a real mix of both worlds with Downton Abbey. You get that coexist with one another.
I'm dying to see that. I have not watched a single episode of it, and I'm dying to watch it. I've heard it's amazing.
Have to. You can get it, through Netflix or Amazon Prime. It really is. It's beautiful for one to watch. It's beautifully filmed. And it's just, and the writing, there's one man,
British
the guy
TV
who...
shows are always so beautiful. I mean, like, you watch it and you just start to drool. It's everything. You want to talk about attention to detail, the costumes and just the sets and everything.
Oh, my God, the costumes alone
really,
are just,
they don't
they really are spot on for detail
over there.
So. Now, our 6th show on the list, our 6th show on the list, Dynasty. ABC competed with Dallas by offering its own primetime television soap centered on oil magnate Blake Carrington, his wife Crystal, and ex-wife Alexis. With Aaron Spelling as producer and stars John Forsythe, Linda Evans, Heather Locklear, and Joan Collins, the show became a mega hit. In 1985, it ranked as the #1 series on television. And this primetime television soap even snagged Golden Globe nominations for Best TV Drama Series every year between 1982 and 1987, scoring a win in 1984 when I graduated from high school. Yeah. Oh, Dynasty. I love me some Dynasty. Number 6 on our list. Well, it was. I mean, and you do. I mean, I think of, all the costumes and oh my God, it's just gorgeous, all the jewelry. And so I love DEVANITY because it captures some of that glitz and glamour from what I loved best about that particular show. About
Which, what's so funny? Everybody always thinks that we tried to be like Dynasty, and I'll tell you the honest to God's truth. Mm-hmm. Dallas was the show that I watched. I liked Dynasty. I've watched most of it at this point, but it wasn't the show that was really at the forefront of my mind when I created DEVANITY. We didn't set out to spoof or to I hate that word, spoof. We didn't set out to recreate Dynasty when we started DEVANITY. And everybody, in our first season, Julia Smith was actually the one who coined the term, it's like Dynasty on crack. And it's always so funny to me because that really was not the intention. So I thought it was really flattering when people would compare us to Dynasty because it's a cultural, iconic series. But it really wasn't started that way. I think that what Dynasty did right, they had a lot of fun with their show. They winked at themselves. They knew that they were over the top, and they just went with it. And
sometimes they winked right at the camera.
Maybe not that much of a wink, but they definitely had fun with their outrageousness. They knew that what they were doing was over the top, and they weren't ashamed of that. They were like, yeah, no, this is pure fantasy, pure fantasy, and they just went there.
Yes, but speaking of pure fantasy, The Bold and the Beautiful, this television soap opera is number 6 on our list. This television soap opera about rival fashion designing families has spawned loyal followers in over 110 countries, winning more viewers than any other soap, says CBS. The Guinness Book of World Records even certified it as the most popular current daytime TV soap opera. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot of... Number 7 on our list is Another World, another daytime soap. Another World never shied away from any tough social issues, and in 1964, it was the first soap opera to explore abortion in 1964. Now, you've explored some interesting some storylines and topics. What are some of the most pushing the envelope and social boundaries that you think that you to storylines that you did with DEVANITY?
I don't know if we deal with any of them. I know that we might bring them up, but I don't think that we ever. I wouldn't say that my show is a show that you want to go to if you're a socially conscious person. We did have a hermaphrodite in season 2. We find out that Laura's sister, Portia Mueller, had a little tiny teeny weenie in between those legs. That was like a huge. I'll never forget when we revealed that, and everybody was like, "Holy shit!"
She had an angry inch.
Oh my God, kind of moments. But in the very episode after, what I did try to do is I made a point to. We have their mother who comes in and she's abusive and she's awful and she's basically making fun of Portia for being a hermaphrodite. And she leaves, and her sister looks at her and she says, I love you no matter what you are, no matter what you want to do. I support you. And I really wanted to make sure that while we had that big shock and awe moment, I didn't want anybody to feel that might have been born that way, that we were making fun of them or that it wasn't a real issue or something that was not maybe a part of somebody's life. And that, your siblings should love you no matter what, and they should support you no matter what. So I really, for as much as the reveal was very shocking, I think that we really did try in the next episode to respectfully have that moment of acceptance between the two sisters, and that was very important to me to convey that, because I, in retrospect, when I was doing some interviews, I definitely tried to go on the record saying we're not making fun of anybody that was born that way. I don't believe in doing something like that. That's how you're born.
Good.
That's how you're born, and
not using it for shock value's sake, kind of thing. Yeah, having some.
Well, in that episode, we were using it for shock value, but at the same time, then we wanted to humanize and make sure that the audience knew that there was a lot more to that character than just that. So we tried to kind of follow through with all of that. And then we pretty much dropped it. I mean, we didn't really, there's been a mention of it here and there, but we didn't really turn it into some ongoing thing on the show. We've dealt with abortion on the show. Jackie, who played my younger sister, well, it wasn't really abortion. She got pregnant, and then her husband secretly gave her a hysterectomy at my wife's bidding so that there wouldn't be children to lose the company over. So that was a little not so nice of him to do.
And false pregnancies as well.
We had one genuine pregnancy and one fake pregnancy. So we had one pregnancy that resulted in a miscarriage, and then we had one that turned out to be fake the entire time. So kids don't have a lot of luck on my show. No babies in the show.
No new babies.
No new babies.
Which leads perfectly into, ironically enough, into our number 8 show, All My Children. Or, as the vanity is called, we ain't got no kids. All My Children. All My Children is the soap that brought the world Erica Kane. Erica Kane, portrayed by Susan Lucci since 1970. This television soap diva is so famous that 60 out of 100 students in a study at California State University at Fullerton recognized her, but not former President Alexander Hamilton. All My Children has also pushed social boundaries, even portraying a gay marriage well before the issue gained traction. So thank you to All My Children. And number 9, a show that you mentioned, a couple of your stories have come from, Days of Our Lives. This popular daytime television soap opera starts with the words, like sands through the hourglass, it should be so are the days of our lives. I don't think this person quoted this correctly. But the sand for this show has never run out. Airing since 1965, Days of Our Lives brought American super couple Hope and Bo Brady, and it's also the day job for Biggest Loser host Allison Sweeney, who plays Sammy Brady. Allison Sweeney. She's looking kind of skinny. I saw her on Biggest Loser. I'm like, you better start eating, girl. We don't want to have to put you on the Biggest Gainer. Yeah. And then to round out our the drugs and the alcohol, I should wait until after the show. I understand. Now, to round out our 10, we have the iconic Beverly Hills. Say it with me. 90210. Now, even if you've never seen any of the other top 10 television soaps, no doubt you've watched Beverly Hills 90210. A primetime soap opera centered on the lives of rich teens in Beverly Hills. This Aaron Spelling hit unleashed a whole new brat pack on Hollywood. Jason Priestley, Tori Spelling, Jenny Garth, Luke Perry, and Shannon Doherty. Wow. Now, I say we should add to this list an honorary number 11, DEVANITY, seasons 1 through 4.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not television technically, so I'm not too hurt that we're not on. There's a couple shows that didn't make that list that should be on that list.
Yeah. And what would you say?
I mean, you got Melrose Place, which was one of the best primetime shows ever.
Yeah, very good, Melrose Place.
You got Knots Landing. Falcon Crest wasn't on that list. I mean, those are big
Let's go back.
Right there.
Yeah. Well, you're having a little bit of what? Knots Landing. You're right, Knots Landing was not on the list. I'm pissed. It was on for 14 seasons, for God's sakes. Yeah,
I know.
You're right. And the Coldies is not on the list.
The Coldies is not on the list.
That's right. But you know what, Michael? We always like to end our show with a musical segment called Jukebox Fuck. And this week, Jukebox selections have us soaking in soap opera suds. Family feuds, cat fights, meow, cat poop, marriages, divorces, and sex. And that's just a Friday night at the Caruso estate. Okay, so here we go. Right, our first song on our list, you will recognize right away. Here goes. My Lord. Hold on, darling.
Are you having performance problems, Michael?
I am having, the internet here is having a whole problem.
Is the game,
I need you to fill in. Oh, never mind.
It's the theme from Dynasty.
The theme from Dynasty, exactly. Yes, that was Dynasty, which aired on ABC from January 12, 1981 to May 1st, 1989. The series, produced by Aaron Spelling, revolved around the Carringtons, a fictional wealthy family residing in Denver, Colorado. The series was ABC's competitor, as mentioned earlier, to CBS's primetime series Dallas, and starred John Forsythe and Linda Evans as oil magnate Blake Carrington and his new wife, Crystal. Ratings for the show's first season were very low, but the fall of 1981, the arrival of Joan Collins as Blake's scheming ex-wife, Alexis Morel Carrington, saw ratings enter the top 20. And by the fall of 1982, it was a top 10 show. And by the spring of 85, it was the number one show in the United States. What do you think of that?
You know what else was great about shows back then was those opening title sequences with the music. Nobody does that anymore, and we do that on our show because I think it gets you in the mood. It gets you there. You know that this show is starting, and this is going to be a crazy night with television, and you listen to the theme like that, and it just takes you right there. It's so great.
Because you get to see the montage of all the characters on the show, and it gets you right into it right away. Yeah, it immerses you into it.
Absolutely. So important. So important.
Number 4, a show you mentioned earlier, and a show that my mother and I used to love to watch together as well. Here we go.
Port engine's overheating. Not overheating. It's on fire.
I thought you said this plane was in perfect order.
There was nothing wrong with it yesterday. We lost the engine.
Great. We'll be all right, Emma.
Down the starboard engine. We've been sabotaged.
It's Falcon crash.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Oh, there was a wreck.
We've lost both engines and our hydraulics. Oh, hell, Denver, we're going down.
In the spring of 1981, Jane Wyman's career enjoyed a resurgence when she was cast as the scheming California vintner and matriarch Angela Channing in The Vintage Years, which was retooled as the primetime soap opera Falcon Crest. The series, which ran from December 1981 to May 1990, was created by Earl Hamner, who also created The Waltons a decade earlier, and I didn't know that. Also starring on the show was an already established character actress, Susan Sullivan, and at the time, the relatively unknown actor Lorenzo Lamas, playing Jane Wyman's grandson on the show. The on- and off-screen chemistry between Wyman and Lamas helped fuel the series' success. He played her grandson on the show, and they were getting it on off the set.
Ew.
I
did not need to know that. I did not need to know that.
Right. She was the original cougar.
We tried
apparently.
to get Lorenzo Lamas for DEVANITY. I did talk to his agent, who is a very lovely woman, and he wanted more money, so it never worked out. But I did try.
I mean, it's like people that hopefully some of the people understand are getting a better grasp. This web series right now, we're still, with the exception of the shows that are being produced by Netflix and Amazon and some HBO and some of the other big production houses or networks out there. It's still kind of like the early days of television, and you got a lot of independently minded people, a lot of independent artists out there creating our own work, and we're putting a lot of our own hard-earned dollars into what we're doing. So there's not a big pot of gold to be paying, some of these, named actors.
I think that sometimes it's about, it's funny. He said no, and then maybe a couple months after that, or I don't remember when it was exactly. He did some reality show, and I literally were flipping the channels, and it was him standing there in a Speedo, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You won't do my show, which is like, I wrote you a character, but you want to play yourself in a Speedo. Okay, I guess I've learned my lesson on that one. I mean, it was very surprising. I was like, oh, all right. Well, you're right. I guess I don't pay enough, but they obviously did, and I wouldn't have made you wear the Speedo.
Exactly. I would have appreciated it had you done that, though.
I know you would have, but you're special, Michael.
Well, thank you, darling. And that's another word for saying a sick, horny whore. So here we go. Now these clips are all from their season 4 opening credits. So I thought I'd let you know that. See, I care, Michael. I care. Here is our show.
Love you.
I know, I love you back. Here's show number 3.
There we go.
Hula, disco beat. Dallas aired from April 2nd, 1978 to May 3rd, 1991 on CBS. The series revolves around a wealthy and feuding Texas family, the Ewings, who own the independent oil company Ewing Oil and the cattle ranching land of South Fork. The series originally focused on the marriage of Bonnie Ewing and Pamela Barnes, whose families were sworn enemies with each other. As the series progressed, oil tycoon J.R. Ewing, played by the late great Larry Hagman, grew to be the show's main character, whose schemes and dirty business became the show's trademark. And when the show ended in 1991, J.R. was the only character to have appeared in every episode. Pretty cool, huh?
Amazing. So great.
Every
Love
episode.
my Dallas.
Oh, that's the quintessential.
Yeah,
thing,
original Dallas, the original series.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love.
Absolutely. And our number 2 song was the spinoff from that show, and I'm grateful to have had both Michelle Lee and oh my God, my name. Who am I thinking? Joan Van Ark. Oh Lord, Ginkabalova on have been on Pretty, and and then Michelle Lee is also on Fumbling Through the Pieces. Julie
The wonderful
Smith's
Fumbling Through the Pieces, another fabulous web series.
Absolutely. So here goes Knots Landing, Season 4, opening credits. Knots Landing is an American primetime television soap opera that aired from December 27, 1979 to May 13, 1993 on CBS. It was a spin-off of Dallas, and it was set in a fictional coastal suburb of Los Angeles in California, and centered on the lives of 4 married couples living at a cul-de-sac, Seaview Circle. By the time of its conclusion, Knots Landing had become one of the longest-running primetime dramas on U.S. television after Gunsmoke and Bonanza. Yeah, it was 14 seasons.
14 years.
Yeah, and I loved it. And the late, great Julie Harris was also on that show.
Yeah, my grandmother loved that too. Falcon Crest and she was a huge Knots Landing fan. Huge too. It was Falcon Crest, and they weren't. I don't think they were on the same night, but she loved both of those shows. I remember her watching that too.
My mom and I had our shows that we watched together. And to cap off
but isn't that nice? See, you know what? I love that.
Absolutely. Families used to watch those together.
About. Yeah, being able to have those memories of watching something. I was so young, I didn't understand what the hell was going on, but I liked seeing how happy it made my grandmother. It was really, really sweet.
Sure.
So, yay television.
And happy grandmothers make a lot more food for the grandkids when they're happy.
That's the kind of logic that I like to hear out of you, Michael. Yeah.
Keep Grandma happy, and she'll be making those sandwiches.
Keep Grandma happy, and she'll be pumping out cookies like a Keebler.
Cookies and brownies like Betty Crocker on crack. So here it goes.
Yep.
We'd be remiss if we did not include this show in our Jukebox Live segment this week with DEVANITY Creator Michael Caruso.
I know this is hard to hear, but you need to start facing the reality that Jason might die.
You take one step near either one of my children and I will crush you like a bug.
I'd like to officially announce myself as the owner of DEVANITY.
ladies and gentlemen, that was the DEVANITY Season 3 trailer. So for the DEVANITY Season 4 trailer and for the upcoming Season 4, you have to go to devanity.com. I just wanted to give you a tantalizing taste. Wasn't that fun to hear that?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, that was actually really fun. I forget these things. I don't sit at home rewatching my episodes all day. So when I hear it, I remember how excited I got. When you do all that stuff. So that's very, very fun. Well, Michael,
you have been delightful. Let me just say a few thank yous before we wrap up. I want to thank our show's producer, Christopher Taylor, who's also my nephew. Oh, nepotism. And tonight's charming and talented featured guest, Michael Caruso, who's just handsome as a Dickens. Check out his photo when you're checking out our show at Spreaker.com.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, and for more information about our show, sidekicks, guests, and topics, just go to lnrradio.com. Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and Spreaker.com, and share with everyone you know. Thanks for tuning in to OMTG on the LNR Radio Network. We are broadcasting a brand spanking new show every Wednesday. Let's make it a date, my friends. Until next time.
Happy 20th episode, buddy.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. And happy congratulations on your 4th season and maybe not so final season of DEVANITY. We'll see you online. Take care.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.